Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Hail the heavenward Prince of Peace, hail the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he breathes, breathes with healing in his wings. While he lays his glory by, born that man no more may die. Born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Well, good morning and Merry Christmas. So great to see all of you. What a wonderful morning. What a pleasure that you have all joined us here today. Thank you for having said yes to the call. It is no accident that you're here, so thank you for bringing your energy into this amazing sanctuary and sharing it with all of us. Each week we come together to celebrate our oneness with one another and with God. In unity, we welcome people of every culture, every lifestyle, every creed. We honor the many paths to God, the many names for God, and the many ways in which we experience God. We give thanks for the presence of God within each of us and the expression of joy, love, and truth in our lives that presence provides. And today we join with hundreds of thousands of people all around the world who are reading the daily word, which today is joy. I express pure joy from the inside out. Joy begins in the depths of my soul. It radiates through my heart and shines out to the world. Although the events of this season may bring pleasure, the deepest joy comes when I connect to my Christ nature. When my heart, mind, and soul are aligned with the indwelling Spirit, I am naturally curious and excited about everything and everyone. Those I meet, I am enthusiastic about. I love my life and eager to do all that is mine to do. I experience a contagious bliss of gladness. The joy of spirit in me is effervescent, and it sparkles through my eyes and adds a bounce to my step. Today, I rejoice as God's jubilation bursts forth from within me. And from the 15th chapter of John, the 11th verse, I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. And so that is the truth, as Eva would say. Reverend Heidi has some announcements for us.
Thank you. Woo! Wish you a Merry Christmas. Wow. All right. I've seen a few that I can play reindeer games with later, yes. So this is our Silly Hat Christmas Day. It's just like 3 or 4 of us. What's going on here? Anyway, so Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Feliz Navidad, Prospero Año y Felicidad. All right, okay. Good for us. Juan's like, hey, how about Feliz Navidad? I'm like, I got one for you. We're good at this. So thank you so much for saying yes to coming to Unity in Chicago today, your home of light, love, and laughter. And we're here in the midst of this worldwide holiday called Christmas and celebrating that Christ presence within us. And we're in the last Sunday of Advent, and so we're going to light a candle for each Sunday of Advent. And the first Sunday We're going to do some peanuts here. That's right. You can't do anything without music. Okay, the first Sunday was for faith. And the second Sunday, faith. And then we had peace. And then what was last Sunday, everybody? Love. See, I knew you guys were awake. And we're feeling this stuff. Okay, so this Sunday is about joy. All right? Isn't that great? And that's really, of course, what Jesus' life was all about, and he invited us to know that that was our divine inheritance. So we say when we light our candles, I am the light of God. I am the light of God. And then we look at our neighbors, just two of them, because we'll stand up in a moment. You are the light of God. You are the light of God. And then we say together, as this bright community, we are the light of God. We are the light of God. Excellent. Y'all are, blinded by the light here. This is great. We really have fun. Oh my gosh. So it was a big week, as it always is. I hear many people say, I could spend every night of the week here at Unity in Chicago. And yeah, you could. We have so many great things. So one of the major things that we had was last Sunday afternoon, we had a variety show. It was 2.5 hours. It was dancing. We had swing dancing. We had interpretive dancing. We had guitar playing, ukulele playing, flute playing. We had cardiologist-approved tap dancing. We had geriatric Santa baby. That was mine. It was amazing. And if you participated in the variety show, will you please stand? Because I really want to give you all a hand for doing that. Yes. Brett, I've got a CD in my... So I've got the DVD. It is now a 2 DVD set. Yes, friends, 2 DVDs. And we are, it's in here, sorry, yes, in the bag of many things. So it is done very well by our Christy Curry and Margaret Surfco. Anyway, and it can be yours. Now, I have bought 2 copies, and there's only 18 left. So if you would like a copy, it's a great gift for your friends. You can sit around Christmas Day when everybody else is doing whatever they're doing, and you could watch this or watch it with your friends and laugh. They're $15 for a 2 DVD set, and if you were in the show, it's $10 because you already put so much energy into this. So here you go. It'll sit The Wings of Prosperity, only 18 left. Don't miss out. Oh, and if you want one, if we do sell out, please just put your name on a list and we'll make some more. All right. The other thing we did was on Thursday night, we had a volunteer party. And it was catered for all these y'all incredible volunteers. I think we had 100 plus folks. Do we have a picture? Yes, it was amazing. So again, we just want to thank y'all one more time. If you have volunteered here, this is probably going to be the whole congregation, but just go on and stand and let's give you a hand. Yeah, that was just amazing. Thank you. As we said, the church does not happen without you. So we're so grateful, and it was what a great energy at that party. So let us see here. Christmas Eve, we're having a number of services, and today's about joy. But if you want to sing joy to the world, you have to come Wednesday night. All right, we're waiting to sing that Christmas Eve. So it's going to be a 6:30 service. It's going to be a lessons and carol service. So we'll have the Christmas story and we'll sing carols intermittently. So it'll be a powerful service. So please come at 6:30 and then we'll have a reception afterward. Of course, we have church next Sunday, the 28th, and then the following Wednesday is New Year's Eve, and we'll have a 6:30 burning bowl ceremony and a letter to God that we'll take and mail back to you in 6 months, and you'll be amazed at what you have manifested through your idea of getting excited about things. All righty. Okay, people have wanted a unity class. We're going to have a unity class. Yes. And it's going to be the book called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shen. And we'll have a class on Thursday nights. It'll be a 5-week series that we're going to do on Sundays, and we'll have a class. And so just the books will be here next week, but it'll be, and you can have credit if you want, Unity credit to be a licensed Unity teacher, or any kind of credit you want, Unity credit for it. So that'll be starting the second Sunday in January. And the first Sunday in January, we're having the White Stone service, and that's going to be writing on the blank slate of the new year. So that's going to be the service on January the 4th. All right. Okay. Let me see here. There is something else, but anyway, you guys, I guess we are so fortunate today to have Josie Falbo. So let's give Josie a big hand, all right?
Do you remember me? I sat upon your knee. I wrote to you with childhood fantasies. Well, I'm all grown up now and still need help somehow. I'm not a child, but my heart still can dream. So here's my lifelong wish, my grown-up Christmas list. Not for myself, but for a world in need. No more lives torn apart that wars would never start, and time would heal the hearts. Everyone would have a friend, and right would always win, and love would never end. Oh, this is my grown-up Christmas list. As children we believed the grandest sight to see was something lovely wrapped beneath the tree. Well, heaven surely knows that packages and bows can never heal a hurting human soul. No more lives torn apart, that wars would never start, and time would heal our hearts. Everyone would have a friend, and right would always win, and love would never end. Oh, this is my grown-up Christmas list. What is this illusion called the innocence of youth? Maybe only in our blind belief can we ever find the truth. No more lives torn apart, that wars would never start, and time would heal our hearts. Oh, everyone would have a friend, and right would always win, and love will never end. Oh, this is my grown-up, this is my grown-up, this is my grown-up Christmas list.
Christy, thank you. Thank you. Oh, thanks. So in the spirit of everyone would have a friend, let's all stand up and say, it is a joy to see you today. All right? So let's all stand up. Oh, thank you, Fred. Thank you. Oh, that means so much.
Always a joy.
It's a joy to see you today. That's a joy to see you today. Thank you. I've got to take a picture with Sophie and her dog. Okay. Great. We're just party animals. It's a joy to see you today. You're so precious. It's a joy to see you today. Yes. And I want you all, when you go home today, to look in the mirror and say, it's a joy to see you today. It's so important for us to recognize the faith and peace and love and joy that we are. So let's breathe in, and then we can say our affirmation, I am full of myself. I am full of myself, right. And I want to say hi to our online community. I had a gentleman from Mexico yesterday come in that lived here and moved to Mexico and then moved from Mexico City. He had a little prayer group in Mexico City, but then he moved to Monterey and he didn't have a Unity community. And he thought, well, let me just see what Unity in Chicago's up to. And he gets online and he can watch the service. Yes, yes. And right, and Christy sent me the email. He wrote this long email saying, this has just saved me, that every Sunday I get on and I'm with you all. It's like I'm on the back row. I'm like, so hey, Joe. All right, it's so great. And we're getting all kinds of people from different countries in touch with us because of this, being on Ustream. So it's really exciting, to be this sort of vortex of light, love, and laughter. It means so much, yeah. So there were 3 men that ended up going to heaven on Christmas Eve. And, St. Peter, he just likes to play with people. I'm sure he gets bored up there. So he said, you know what? You all can't come into heaven unless you have something that represents Christmas. And so one guy, pulled out a lighter from his pocket. He lit the lighter and he said, well, this is a light, right? This is a festival of lights. And St. Peter's like, great, come on in. And the other guy gets his car keys and shakes his car keys and he said, these could represent jingle bells. And St. Peter goes, okay, that works. The other guy's going, oh my gosh, I didn't pack for heaven. What do I have? And then he realized the night before he borrowed reading glasses from one of his lady friends, and you could see this triumphant look. He held up these glasses and he said, these are carols. Where's Carol? Okay. Oh. Slim pickings there in the Christmas joke department. But anyway, so joy, right? Joy comes from many, many ways. Joy is present in our lives, certainly laughter and telling funny stories, and that's such a traditional way for joy. But on the spiritual path, you may have noticed that these experiences that Jesus brought, these gifts that are what the spiritual path's about, faith and peace and love and joy, are often hidden in the midst of something that may look like a problem, or may look like a conflict, or may look at the way that things didn't work out the way we wanted them to. And then, because we're on this spiritual path and we're getting so evolved all the time, we're willing to be with it And we find that this joy is in the midst of what we're dealing with. And then life becomes this adventure that is sort of this, I wonder what's going to happen next. Or as we did when we went through our easy button, I wonder how this is going to work out. And it's interesting to shift to that place of I wonder how it's going to work out when it can feel like this should not happen to me. I don't want this going on in my life. And so really when we talk about Christmas and when we talk about the celebration of the Christ consciousness, that's what we're talking about. And it is fascinating because I know when I first came into Unity Church, like many of us, I thought, this feels so good. Everybody loves me, and everybody's so happy, and they love me just the way I am. And that was great because I needed to keep coming back. But then my life kept happening. And I noticed there were lots of people then that didn't like me, or things didn't work out perfectly. And then I was kind of mad at Unity. And then I was sort of mad at God again. But I kept staying until I recognized I love the idea that it's my divine inheritance, that Jesus wasn't born with anything that is not within me also, or Buddha, or any of your mentors. I love the idea that if I really admire somebody or I really kind of want to be more like somebody, it's always something within me that's wanting to be born. So this idea of joy is really fascinating when we come to the idea that it's in the midst of other things. Kahlil Gibran says, when you're joyous, look deep into your heart and you shall find it is only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. You know, it's like, really? You sure? You know, but it's this idea that something that has brought us sorrow in a way is something that it's so important for us to get it because then on the other side of the sorrow is the joy. Have you ever noticed sometimes when you're in the midst of crying about something and then you get finished with the crying and you start laughing, right? Because the point is that you needed to move away what was sort of in the way of the joy. And so I find story after story. This doesn't seem to just be my story. I've talked to many, 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 many people on this path, learned from many people, hopefully taught some people. But I recognize this is the story for all of us. I don't care what it is. You know, the joy is in the midst of it. And I was talking, calling the talk today, Joy is My Compass. You know, that recognizing what that joy is. And it's different for all of us. I had a friend come in from Paris that was here for a music convention, and we went and saw the David Bowie exhibit. And if you haven't seen it, it's really phenomenal. But we were talking about how he comes to the United States, and he does all these concerts and these conventions, and he said, you know, I can't wait. The next convention is in Duluth, Minnesota. And I'm like, wow, you know, that just really hasn't been on my bucket list, Duluth, Minnesota. But he said, you know, I love coming to these American cities where there's, you know, and of course Chicago is an exception, but where there's not a whole lot going on, and I get to really experience just, you know, people in this country that are just sort of having, you know, simple lives, and it's so interesting. And of course, you know, I'm like, I'd rather go to Paris, really, you know. And so, but we were talking about, I just found it so fascinating how joy is an inside job. It's really your own thing. Duluth was great for him, and Paris would be better for me, really. But what is it for you? And that's what we're really looking at. How can we let joy be our compass? I am so inspired by many of you here that have gone through many, many things in your lives and come out the other side, and you know, we just love you as you learn to love yourself, and that's really what we're about here. And that's what we talk a lot about that on Wednesday nights, is how people have gone through this time of confusion and coming out to understand this joy. But there's a couple of stories that in history that have been really inspirational, and this one in particular. And it is a historic year from this story. So this was a story from 1914, so it's 100 years since this time. This is a quote. It says, there's a guy that had said, on Christmas morning, we stuck up a board with a Merry Christmas on it. The enemy had stuck up a similar one. 2 of our men threw their equipment off and jumped on the parapet with their hands above their heads. 2 of the Germans did the same thing and commenced to walk up the river bank. Our 2 men going to meet them. They met and shook hands, and then we all got out of the trench. So wrote a British soldier named Frank Richards, referring to the first Christmas of World War I, 100 years ago this Thursday. Up and down the 400-odd miles of trenches on the Western Front, men risked their lives with similar acts, meeting opposing soldiers in no man's land. Wary and unarmed, they made their way out of the trenches, taking steps that a day earlier would have guaranteed their death at the hands of sharpshooters and machine gunners 100 yards away. The relaxation of the hostilities spread. What has come to be called the Christmas truce took hold. Soon soldiers were holding joint burial sessions for the dead. They began trading goods. British soldiers had been given holiday tins of plum pudding from the king. German soldiers had received pipes with a picture of the crown prince on them, and before long the men were bartering these holiday gewgaws that celebrated the enemy's royals, and eventually soldiers prayed and caroled together, shared dinner, exchanged gifts. Most famously, there were soccer matches at various locations made with improvised balls. Bruce Barnfather, who served during the war, wrote, "I wouldn't have missed that unique and weird Christmas for anything. I spotted a German soldier, some sort of lieutenant, I think, and being a bit of a collector, I intimated to him that I fancied a few of some of his buttons. I brought out my wire clippers and with a few deft snips removed a couple of his buttons and put them in my pocket. And then I gave 2 of mine in exchange. The last I saw was one of my machine gunners, who was a bit of an amateur hairdresser in civil life, cutting the unnaturally long hair of a docile German who was patiently kneeling on the ground whilst the automatic clippers crept up the back of his neck." Future nature writer Henry Williamson, then a 19-year-old private in the London Rifle Brigade, wrote a letter to his mother on Boxing Day, which is December 25th. "Dear Mother, I'm writing from the trenches. It is 11 o'clock in the morning. Beside me is a coke fire. Opposite me a dugout, wet with straw on it. The ground is sloppy in the actual trench, but frozen elsewhere. In my mouth is a pipe, presented by the Princess Mary. In the pipe is tobacco. Of course, you say. But wait. The pipe is full of German tobacco. Ha ha, you say, from a prisoner or found in a captured trench? Oh dear, no. From a German soldier. Yes, a live German soldier from his own trench. Yesterday, the British and Germans met and shook hands in the ground between the trenches and exchanged souvenirs and shook hands. Yes, all Christmas Day, and as I write, marvelous, isn't it?" I love that story. And so my question today is, what trench do you think you may be in? What war are you fighting? Because many of us are sort of in our own personal war, maybe number 125. You know, we started perhaps fighting our family when we were young, you know, our siblings, our own creativity, our religion. We were fighting God. Then maybe we started fighting with our girlfriend or our boyfriend, which then became our husband or our wife. And then we were fighting with our children. We were fighting with our boss. We were fighting with our friends. We start fighting with money. We start fighting with our health. We start fighting with our body. And it goes on and on and on until we're willing to come out of the trenches and meet between the trenches in what could be called no man's land, beyond our mind about what's right and wrong, there is a place that we can meet. And like these soldiers that were risking their lives, come into a greater sense of what it is to experience joy in the midst of what may feel like a war. This started in this Christmas truce with caroling, with one group from one trench caroling, and of course the other trench could not resist the joy. So I'm going to show a clip from a French film called Joyeux Noël, and I'm sure if you speak French, you would say that word much better, Joyeux Noël. And it's a wonderful French film, and I'm just going to show the part, and we'll lower the lights, from when these men are coming out of their trenches. And just let this inspire you. It's a movie, right? But let it inspire you to think about the trench you may be in.
Mon lieutenant, venez voir vite. Il se passe quelque chose de bizarre en face. J'aime pas bien ça, mon lieutenant. C'est peut-être une diversion vu d'un seul coup, non?
Gute Macht durch der Engel Halleluja, tönt es laut vom fern und nah. Christ der Retter ist da. Christ der Retter ist da.
Kommen Sie da runter!
Abeste fideles, leti triumphantes, venite, venite, in
So 100 years, and here we are. And what a fantastic example of how we can hide in those trenches, right? And then as we hear that sound of oneness, we hear that sound of peace, that sound of love, that sound of joy, you could see their eyes. They're like, oh yeah, that's my birthright. That's my birthright. And I'm glad somebody's crying because I can't barely get through that. And it's the most wonderful film if you get a chance to be there. What's really interesting about the film, the Germans have a black cat, and the cat doesn't really know it's German. And so it gets up and it runs over to the French trench, and they're looking for their cat. So sometimes I go, if you want to solve a war, just, get a cat. But this idea that is where we live. We live in that trench and we've got the enemy, and we don't know how to change. And so we come together to recognize that joy certainly is in our heart, it's in the midst, and we have to practice it. It's like going to the spiritual gym. How do we practice keeping love alive? And it will feel often when you're stepping into joy that you are risking something dying, because what's dying is your fear, that's an enemy, when, it's not. So, joy is an interesting practice. I'd asked you all to look at these 3 questions every night when we were in Thanksgiving time, and I said, practice these 3 questions. Let's see if you want to bring them up. I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but the 3 questions were, what surprised me today? What touched my heart today? And what inspired me today? What surprised me today? What touched my heart today? And what inspired me today? Because, friends, those questions will get you out of the trench. I often will be at the end of my day thinking, gosh, I'm tired or whatever. And then I answer these 3 questions, and everything shifts. Everything shifts. And so if we want a journey, if we want to have an exercise, keep up with those questions. Have you all been kind of playing with them? I know there's one lady that said, I do this every night. I'm like, okay, I can't say that, but I'm really happy for you. But when I do, things really shift. And this hymn that we have, Joy to the World, the Lord has come, let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, let heaven and nature sing. So when I think about joy, I wonder how we have prepared our heart to receive this message. I wonder how big our heart is when we look at the conflicts in our life, when we look at the sadness in our life, when we're willing to go beyond this story of having enemies. One of my practices in December when I go to Starbucks is I buy a cup of coffee for the person behind me. And I used to do it, sometimes I've done it anonymously, and I'll just, $5, and sometimes I'll tell the barista, just whoever looks like they're sort of out of sorts today, just get them a cup of coffee. And so sometimes I'll go in over and get my coffee, and I'll notice this person coming in, and they get this anonymous gift, and they usually lean forward like, what? Are you sure? And then almost every time they look up, like the coffee angel or something. I mean, it always is just, wow, but it just is so amazing to me to see how a little cup of coffee, right, has just, somebody's had a spiritual experience. And it's fascinating. And how quickly joy comes back when we live in this state. The other day I went in and I did tell the person behind, I'm going to get you a cup of coffee. And he was like, oh, you sure? They kind of look at you like, am I going to owe you something? I'm like, no, this is my December thing. Just receive. And so right after that, I was getting 2 little packs of this other packaged stuff. And if you got 2 packs, so as I bought the coffee, I got these 2 packs, and they said, oh, and the deal today is you get $5 for buying those 2 packets of stuff. So I just gave $5, and I got $5. But, so when we get in this, joy is my compass world, it's just fantastic to see how quickly life starts to shift for us. And you will notice that the thing that was the big problem is just not such a big deal anymore. These guys, their life was changed forever. I think, their commanders said you got to go back to war, but many of them couldn't, and some of them were arrested. And it was, but the point is, it's not about, it's the whole spiritual journey is getting out of the war. Getting out of the war. I have my little friend, because every Christmas story has some character that has had their heart small, that had not prepared room for this message, that was at war. And whether it's Scrooge or George Bailey or our friend the Grinch. Can you pass me the Grinch, Fred? I left all my supplies over there. All right, so we know the Grinch was, like many of us, in a trench at war with, who was he at war with? The Who's. Okay, right. Yeah, follow me, because your little kid really wants to hear this story. All right. So, and he was in war with the Who's because the Who's looked happy and he was a Grinch and he was unhappy. So he had a whole problem with Christmas because it forced him to look at his unhappiness. They don't tell that very spiritual, psychological part of it in the story, but that's what was going on. So, he goes down to the Who's because he's going to wreck Christmas for them. You know how when we're mad and we don't want anybody to be happy. So he goes down and he takes all their presents and he piles them up on his sleigh and he goes to Mount Crumpet to dump it. Okay? And he's out at Mount Crumpet and he puts his hand to his ear because there's a sound that he simply must hear. And he hears, and what is the sound he simply must hear? He wants the Who's to say what? Boo-hoo, right? Okay. So he puts his hand to his ear and he hears a sound coming over the snow. It starts out low and it starts to grow. But the sound isn't sad. It's merry. Very. And the Grinch stands there and puzzles till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, he thought, means a little bit more. Maybe it's more than all this busyness. Maybe it's certainly more than our resentments or our stories about who's against us. And to look at life as the joy is in the midst of whatever is your story. Just keep going. And we know what happened to the Grinch, right? Let's see here. Now, is this on?
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
So if you didn't hear, it says that down in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day. And I can tell you all, if we're really willing to work on joy, if we're willing to be inspired by stories that happened 100 years ago and how we're still having these wars within us, you will have this experience of being set free. It really is, we have this big party called Christmas, but the biggest party is the story within you. So joy to the world and prepare your heart. Allow your heart to have space for something amazing to be revealed to you. It truly is an inside job. And Merry Christmas to all of us, everyone. And let us be with this time of silence as we meditate on this idea of joy as an indwelling presence. After our meditation time, Josie's going to sing from this movie that had an incredible, amazing grace rendition. And after she sings that, I'd like for you to just be quiet. We don't want you to clap because I want you to have that experience. And then we're going to sing the song Blessed Always as we go into before our chaplains come up. So just close your eyes and allow that idea of, as John Lennon said, war is over if you want it. And so we'll just have Peter play and just let's breathe into this idea of something so much greater being revealed to us as we relax into our greatness. Feel this chair completely supporting you, the pressure of your legs on the back of the chair and the pressure of your back. And use the chair as a metaphor for life. Life completely supports me. Life completely supports me. Life supports me in my faith and my peace and my love and my joy. Joy is at the center of any experience that's happening in my life right now. I use this sacred time of being still to reflect on, am I willing in this moment to move out of that trench? Am I willing to allow and prepare room in my heart? Am I willing to allow sweet feelings of peace and love and joy to be my compass? Jesus came and was born for us to breathe into something bigger. Breathe into that kingdom of heaven. So I invite you in our time together to fill your mind with an idea that is joyful to you. Allow that vibrancy and energy to fill your mind and fill your body. And keep breathing, knowing that that energy will dispel any darkness, any sorrow, any sense of separation from the I am that you are. So allow you to be in this sacred silence, this very powerful time of your day, to be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still. Be. We start to realize that no one and nothing is against us. We are the joy that we're looking for. It is right there in our heart. So we use that power to inspire us, to touch our heart, and like a small child to be filled with wonder. I wonder what wonderful thing is going to happen next. So we rest in this place of being born in the image and likeness of God, that all is so well. And that I am joy. And we will end our meditation with Josie's beautiful voice.
Blessed always, blessed always, arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
We invite you in this space of love and joy and peace to speak the names of those you would like held in prayer. Sweet Spirit, we hold these prayer requests in this beautiful energy of joy, of light that lights up a world at this darkest time of the year. We hold our staff, our minister, our musicians, the beautiful volunteers, and all of the many souls that are sitting in these seats this morning and the families that they represent in your light and loving energy. We affirm the willingness of all of us to lay down our weapons and to climb out of the trenches. We release this prayer knowing that these prayers are already answered, and so it is. Amen. We are your prayer chaplains for this service. Brian Fallon, Diane Haglund, and myself, Jill Brown. We invite you to join us in the Fillmore Room following the service. If you have a prayer of concern or a prayer of joy, we love those too. Come and join us after the service. Of course, we will hold your confidentiality. We are also available for you through the website, and we are happy to pray with you at any time. Thank you.
Oh, good. The best prayer. Beautiful. Okay, Josie, we want to thank you. Let's give her a big hand. That was amazing. Oh. Okay, there's a tool. Listen to Josie every morning. You can watch it online, and thank you. You know, that's just, we have so many tools here, and we need to use them, so thank you. And the other tool I'd just like to mention that I didn't mention in the talk is if you are feeling in the trench and you've got, you know, an enemy in the world, you know, one of the practices of certainly the 12-step program in Unity is to write a prayer to them at night, meaning, you know, I really wish you a good life. I really wish you happiness. And you know who that's going to shift? Is you, right? So I just invite us, what should I do at Christmas time? Do that. That'll be beautiful. It's amazing to watch how that shifts. All right, so we're going to give from that sense of abundance to this incredible center of light, love, and laughter. I just know that your tithes certainly bless our building, our staff, our musical folks, and that you are part of how the world's getting better by just giving from that sense of being full. A lot of joy in giving and a lot of joy in receiving. And so we're learning how to really look at where we've received in life when we decide to give, because we've received from many, many, many places. So if you'll hold your tithe, your love offering in your hand and infuse it with the joy of you, really feel that for a moment. And feel that sense of gratitude for the source from which those resources came, whether it's a job or your life, or it came from somebody somewhere in your family, or however it is, just feel that sense of gratitude and joy. Because, friends, that's how it is. That's where it starts. All right, so breathing into that, let's say together our conscious giving blessing here. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am prosperous.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed.
many of Santa's helpers here. Yes, thank you so much. All right, so fantastic. So let's just, again, breathe in to the sense of abundance and generosity, and knowing how important it is to stay in the law of circulation, that we must give to receive, and we must receive to give. And so it's just like breathing, friends. It's all about being alive. So breathe into that sense of the aliveness of you. And let's say together our conscious giving blessing. We are grateful for these gifts of faith and love. We recognize these are signs of our prosperity and highest good. We affirm God is in action right here and right now. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And Fred McAfee with the announcements. Yay!
More to be grateful for, right? Love those announcements. I'm going to add one here. There might be some joy going on in the heart of one person here. Jean Scott, it's so nice to see you out of your trench. Yeah, and so it is. So our Unity Chaplains invite you to their monthly Good Grief group today at 1:15 in the Oak Room, where we will prayerfully honor our grief and bring peace to our hearts. Today is the final day to contribute to our compassionate Christmas drive for the night ministry. Your donations will help keep the homeless adults and children on Chicago's North Side warm this winter. And be sure and stop by the table downstairs, because this wonderful card will be on display. This is a gigantic thank you card from Central Romero and all the kids that received gift cards from us. It's really astounding. Yeah.
And they said, we just weren't sure how to mail it. So so come on and see all these pictures, and I guess 150 children. So please, yes, thank you.
Another source of joy, eh? Yes. Our Burning Bowl service is a powerful tradition here at Unity. Plan to join us on Wednesday, December 31st, to release all that is not serving your highest good in our ceremonial fire. That's at 6:30, correct? And on Sunday, January 4th, Reverend Heidi will lead us in the White Stone ceremony, when we will prayerfully discern our intention for the new year and write on that clean slate. Yes, so to those of you who are joining us for the first time today, wanted to make sure we cover all those announcements, yeah? We're so glad that you have joined us today. We know that there are no accidents and that you are here by divine appointment. We hope you've enjoyed your time with us. We look forward to seeing you again. And as a memento of your visit with us, we have a small gift. We need to have you raise your hands, though, so that we can find you. So if you're here for the first time, raise your hand. The first time, there we go. So along with a carnation, we'd also like to extend a welcome CD to you. That will be found downstairs in the library, our welcome center. Just look for the big blue banner. Nice to have you with us. We look forward to seeing you again. For those of you who are here maybe sort of new and still have questions about Unity, please check in with the folks at the Welcome Zone. They have lots and lots of answers for your questions. And if they don't have answers, they'll make one up. Carol has a pet ministry announcement.
Okay. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Good morning. I want to thank you for all your support up until this time, and now we have some special needs. The person from here is a friend of this lady. Her name is Paula. I don't think the lady's here, Sarah, who's a friend of hers. She's rescued dogs all her life, and she's been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She had cancer before, and they told her she was cancer-free. That was 2 years ago. So she's now in the hospital. She's been out 1 day since Thanksgiving. So she's kind of in a bad place. She's boarding these dogs. They are all rescues. They are all well behaved. There's 2, I think, that are seniors, maybe 13 years old, housebroken, crate trained, pretty easy dogs. 2 small ones I can't see. I think there's a miniature golden retriever, maybe this kind of one here. This is a little Bichon mixed thing. That's another little mixed thing, and that's another little Shih Tzu. So any help you could give us, if you could just even foster them. I think that she has some time. I was trying to make it possible for her to keep 1 dog with her if she's at home in hospice. She's still in the hospital at this time, so they're still at the vet's office. So anybody who could help, even for a short time till we can figure out what else we're going to do, or they will probably be up for adoption. And that's a really pressing issue. I also have 2 little kittens. If anybody is versed in taking care of kittens, they're not exactly socialized yet. They're a little bit afraid of people. They're about, I think, 8 weeks old now. So anybody who knows how to handle them, I have some drops that's going to calm them down. But anyway, I need some help. And I thank you all for everything, and I'll be in the back and appreciate your help. Thank you. Bye.
Well, Carol just does it all, doesn't she? Needs some calming down, check in with her. She got some drops for you. Either drops or a kitten, right. Take the drops. And now let's welcome back Josie Falbo.
Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye, sing if you want. Come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Come, let us adore him. Come, let us adore him. Come, let us adore him. Christ the Lord. Sing, yeah, singing adoration. Jesus the King.
Miss Josie Falbo. And of course, Peter Polzak and Bill Harrison and Sarah Allen. And Juan. Before we finish this joyful service, today's flowers are generously donated by Shar Bennington. And thank you, Shar. And she writes this: in loving memory of our dear Unity family members that we lost this past year, and in loving memory of the dear friends and family members of our Unity family members we lost this past year. We are blessed to have loved so deeply. May we continue to have opportunities to love deeply every day for the rest of our lives. Much love, Shar Bennington. Thank you, Shar. Thank you. And now we have some kids.
Hi, everybody. Happy holidays. If you've noticed, there is some wonderful artwork out in the gallery, and that is made by all of the kids and some of the kids that are not here. It is their representation of world peace. So we would love for you to go out there and take a look, and if one of them strikes your fancy, we would love for you to purchase it too. We also wanted to give a big thank you for the Pay What You Can sale. It was amazing. We raised over $1,200. Yes. And one of the YOUers is going to say thank you.
Everyone from YOU would like to extend a thank you to the congregation for all your donations. We were able to raise over $1,200, so thank you. It helps out for all of our retreats and everything, which is awesome because they're very helpful and very nice to go to.
And Santa Claus is doing the prayer for protection.
Yes. Santa.
Where's our affirmation? Okay, so I'm going to say this once, and can y'all repeat after me?
Yeah.
Not many people do, but we could just try
Yeah.
it. Okay, so it says, joy builds within my soul.
Joy builds within my soul.
And joy bursts into my life. And joy bursts into my life in unexpected ways. In unexpected ways. And looking at you, I want to say one more thing that's on the variety show DVD is your dad, who did a magic show and sent it in via technology. Yes. So that's on there too. All right, thanks, kids. So you're going to lead us in the prayer for protection? Okay, joy to the world. You've come. Let's sing our way out of here.
light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is